All right, here we go. Episode 16 of betParx presents the OGs podcast. There he is, Harry Mayes, Jason Myrtetus. What's going on? Huh?
It's springtime, Jason, and I'm starting to get that itch. We had the college basketball tournament, which started last week, and was heavily involved in that, been enjoying that. And, somebody tells me that the baseball season is actually going to start here in a couple of weeks, and the Phillies made a couple of big moves, spent a lot of money in the last couple of days. We had your boy G has a new zip code, and some people are outraged by that, and some people are outraged by the fact that some of the Sixers stars didn't play in a game last night, that they actually won against the number 1 seed Miami Heat. When you start to think you can figure out the NBA and the regular season, you let me know, because I surely can't. And the Eagles signed some wide receiver that nobody really knows.
Yeah, they're all judging him by, is he better than Jalen Rieger?
Right. Well, yeah.
I'm better than Jalen Rieger.
Yeah, I guess Pro Football, what do they call it, Focus or whatever, puts out their list of wide receivers at PFF, and apparently this guy was at the bottom of the list, and Jalen Reagor was a few slots ahead of him. So there you go, for what it's worth.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But
the coach loves him.
Yeah, the line of demarcation, yet they still don't have a quarterback.
Exactly.
Let's tell people about betParx real quick, because the one thing you missed in your little soliloquy there was that the Masters is coming, huh?
Well, yeah, that's a couple of weeks away. I mean, we got the match play starts tomorrow in Texas. That's like their bracket format thing where they have the 64 players going at it, in match play one-on-one, and it's, they whittle it down to 32 after the first 3 days, and then they play all weekend long. I mean, in order to win this tournament, you got to play like 7 rounds of golf in like 4.5 days. It's exhausting.
Any truth to the rumor that Mikey Miss sent the PGA a cease and desist because he created the field of 64?
Well, yes. Crossing Broad, I guess Kevin Kincaid does this kind of stuff this time of year. And he actually pared his field of 64 down to a field of 32 just to not get Mikey Misses and his lawyers or his legal team after Crossing Broad. That's what I understand.
Yes.
I'm hoping to make the NIT bracket in that field of 32, by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't included in it for the first time this year, too, because neither of us technically do sports talk radio.
Well, not sports talk. I mean, I did the football pregame show on Fox Sports The Gambler for this past football season on Sundays. But I guess that doesn't count, but who cares?
Yeah, I took it as a badge of honor that I wasn't on that bracket for the first time in a long time.
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's a sign I'm out.
I saw Shander was on there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was on there. I think he got eliminated right away because not enough people saw his tweets.
Yeah, 6% of his followers could see his tweets. Who bounced him out, I wonder?
I'm not even sure.
I may have to look at the bracket, and if it's still up, unless Mikey misses cease and desist, had it taken down for a likeness comparison. Unbelievable. Let's tell people about betParx, because betParx is the new app. I know you got it. You were flashing it on the screen last week. I got it as well. And it's awesome. It's easy to use. The old app was good, but this one's better.
Yeah, this is way better. It's more user-friendly.
Yeah, and that's what we want, because when we want to get our money in, we want to get it in an easy way, right? Get the action. It's also a mobile casino and sportsbook. It's right in your pocket. Easy to sign up, fun to use, and like Harry said, super easy to navigate. And right now, all betParx users have the choice of either a $20 casino bonus or a free $20 sports bet. So all you got to do is just go to the App Store, download it. That little X at the bottom left of your screen there is kind of what you're looking for. Download that, and you get the betParx app today. You do need to be over 21, present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So make sure you check it out. Live in-game betting, play-by-play, all the different player performances and tons of stuff there as well.
Yeah, I gave out 2 in the NCAA tournament last week, went 1-1. Vermont covered, losing only by 4, getting 5, but Boise State did not come through for me against Memphis. I'm looking at the Houston Cougars. I love Cougars. We all know that.
Yes, yeah.
Thursday night at 10 o'clock, they tip off against the number 1 seeded Arizona Wildcats out of the Pac-12. Houston getting 1.5 points from the American. This team defends like all get out, and they just compete at such a high level. Really impressed with what they did against Illinois over this past weekend. That's a short ass line. I'm taking Houston plus 1.5, and I'll even put some money on the money line because they're winning that game.
Nice. Okay. Don't say outright because we'll get a
no. That's another. The lawyers are listening, Jason.
another C and D as they call it in lawyer parlance. I saw you just tweeting up a storm this weekend about the tournament. You were vested, huh?
Yeah, I was into it, man. I'm entertained by it. You know, it lives up to the billing every year to me. Like there's always upsets. You have this St. Peter's team, which is now the Cinderella, taking out Kentucky, which was a 2 seed. And then they win their next game because they had the benefit of playing Murray State, who made a mild upset in the first round. So they're in the Sweet 16. Their coach is probably going to get hired away by his alma mater, Seton Hall, because they lost their coach to Maryland this past week. And they're coming to Philadelphia, actually. St. Peter's going to play Purdue on Friday at the Wells Fargo Center. And then in the nightcap, you get UCLA against UNC, two of the biggest branded teams in college basketball lore going at it. You got great storylines with Duke, Coach K. Each game he wins is, one more game towards the end, and who knows who's going to take him out. They play Texas Tech this week, and that's going to be a really tough game to beat Texas Tech because of the way they defend. So there's storylines left and right, and I just think it's great stuff. The upsets, everybody gets into the upsets, buzzer beaters, overtime games. To me, the tournament never lets me down.
So do you get this? You don't get this invested in the regular season of college hoops. It's the tournament that gets you every time.
No, it's hard to get that vested in the regular season because you still got football going on in November, December, and January. So I don't really, start turning a lot of my attention to college basketball until February. And then by then, my alma mater is usually already, fighting uphill just to maybe get an NIT bid. So I get a little disappointed by that, but I start to really dial in on some of the bigger conferences in the weekend games on Saturdays and Sundays. And then you got the conference tournaments, which, some people think are a total waste of time. I kind of get into it. But by the time you start to get to the NCAA tournament, I am fully into it. I'm knee deep in college hoops. Villanova with another good run coming here.
Always.
They got Michigan. Phil Martelli on that Michigan staff.
Yeah.
As an assistant
versus
coach.
Jay.
Yeah. It's going to be good stuff.
Kind of the holy war in a way, right?
In a way.
Maybe with Michigan, it's the unholy war. But Jay, once again, he just runs such a good program.
Oh,
first
incredible.
Class.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Hard not to root for him, even if you're a Temple guy.
Yeah. Like that feeling as for you as a Temple guy, like your team's out of it. Like I have that feeling obviously now with the Flyers, like just playing out the string. They got 20 games left. And it's like, like I was at the game the other night. I'm going, geez, seriously, 20 games left? We got 20 more of these?
Wow, there's only like 11 or 12 left in the NBA season. So you got 20 left in the NHL. Wow.
Yeah, Flyers won't wrap up until April 29th against
drudgery.
The Ottawa Senators.
Oh man,
painful. I mean, look, you're gonna see some young guys and stuff like that with the trades they made, and obviously some of the injuries that guys that aren't coming back, like Ellis and Couturier. Now Giroux's gone, and Braun's gone, and Brassard's gone. So there's things to look at, but like this time of year when you're going to a winter sporting event, like whether it's the Sixers or the Flyers, and it's nice outside, like that brings you back to those playoff runs,
right.
And that's not the case for the Flyers.
When the trees are blooming, the flowers are starting to come out, and then people drive down to the Wells Fargo Center with their Flyers or their Sixers flags on their cars. Everybody's getting into it. Yeah,
and they tailgate earlier, and especially the weekend games. It sucks that they're just playing out the string. But some people are pissed off at El Cap.
Oh, they are.
Captain. Yeah, because he wouldn't waive his no move clause for several teams to create a bidding war.
Well, I mean, I was under the impression from some Twitter reporting by some hockey people that Colorado, Minnesota, and St. Louis would have all been other teams that he may have had interest in and possibly been up for waiving the no trade clause. Is that not true?
Well, I mean, that was an early report. I think it was from Adrian Dater out in Colorado that those were teams that he would consider. But when it came down to it, considering waiving it and waiving it are two totally different things. And as things kind of heated up, and I'm sure conversations with guys on teams and situations and how he would be used and all that stuff through his agent, because his agent can talk to the general managers, right? If he comes here, what role is he going to play? All those things. Like with Florida, he's with Verhaeghe and Barkov on the top line. And so, I mean, you look at it and you go, okay. So he decides to go to Florida, gets his mind made up on Florida, and that's it. And so the general manager is negotiating with one other general manager that knows he's only going to waive to go there. So he's not going to give you a king's ransom for the guy. So people are like, gee, thanks, G. You screwed us on your way out.
Well, yeah, I had the mini U-Haul. Fletcher pulled away from the building in the mini U-Haul.
Yeah, not even the drive U-Haul. It was a trailer U-Haul, Har.
This is the one you could have hooked up to a Pinto.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't even big enough to get a living room out of the house moved. So he goes to Florida, and it's weird seeing him in Florida colors at practice and stuff like that. But
now, do they play the Panther before the end of the year? Is there going to be a matchup between G and the Flyers?
No, he does not play the Panther.
That's a shame.
They would have, if they had gone to the Rangers, they would have played the Rangers. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else here that was in that mix, but no, nobody is.
Okay.
So they move forward post Giroux, and you know how I feel about the player, Har. And I think people are going, well, he needs to sign here in the offseason. I say no.
No. Enough.
Move on.
Enough with bringing back the old guys.
Yeah. Move on. Let have it be a new day and move forward as a new group. Don't bring them back.
He'd be a free agent.
Yeah, he's a UFA.
Yeah,
he can come back here and sign here like he can anywhere else. So no, I say it's time to move on. And obviously, and you know how I feel about him. I think it's time to move on. But these people getting pissed off because he wanted to go to a certain team when he had a full no move clause. Like, I think they need to get a grip.
Yeah, and I mean, who keeps putting these no move clauses in all these deals? Does this go back to Holmgren?
It does. Well, that deal was signed by Holmgren, but that's the thing. When you're a really high end player, you get it,
right?
Because you can, and then you can control your situation if you find yourself in this spot,
right?
Because players ultimately all they want is control, so they can determine where they go. Otherwise, they could send you to Siberia, basically, right?
Now, where do you think he'd have the best chance of winning a cup? Is it in Florida, or would it have been maybe in Carolina or Colorado?
I think, Florida's one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. So is Carolina. I think they're pretty much even when it comes to the chances to get to the cup and win it. And then in the Western Conference, Colorado is great, but a team you didn't even consider, I think that's going to come out of the West, even over Colorado, is going to be Calgary.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Well, you don't want to go to Calgary.
No.
Come on. I know
even
he's
this
Canadian
time of year.
Guy. Yeah, exactly. I know that springtime is coming, and by July it'll actually be in Calgary. But you don't want to be in Calgary right now.
Yeah, well, not to mention the way your paycheck looks when you get it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The Canadian dollar and the Canadian tax versus Florida with no state income tax.
Right, and you probably still have to double mask up there too. Who knows?
Oh, that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
The travel and the border issues up there. Like I had to fill in for Coatsy this week for a couple of games, including Giroux's 1,000th hour.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I was doing color on the game for the big match up there and the win over the Nashville Predators. But then Friday they were in Ottawa, but I couldn't travel because I didn't have a negative PCR test in time to be able to go over the border to do the game in Canada. I had to do it from home. 14 seconds delayed, for Christ's sake.
14 seconds?
Yes.
That's like half a shift.
Yeah, that's up, back, and off.
Jesus.
So Tim is doing the call from Ottawa, and a goal would happen, and he would throw it to me, but I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
On my delay. See it. Yeah. So I'm there, like, kind of stretching till I see it on I'm watching the game on a computer monitor because I got to stream it from an NHL site that I get.
Oh,
and it was dizzying because I'm listening to the game in real time, but seeing everything 14 seconds delayed.
Oh man. Well,
not ideal.
You got through it, obviously. But congratulations on being able to do the 1,000th game. That's quite a bullet point on your resume.
Yeah, well, I come to find out, Har, through some people on Twitter, that the reason Coatsy was off had nothing to do with a detached retina. It was St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. That was Thursday night. I was up in Nick's Roast Beef with Shander doing a college basketball betting show.
Oh, really? Jeez. Where's your agent to book that on St. Patty's Day, right? You gotta call your agent and say, what is going on back there? So yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a week, and I'm like, today's officially spring, right?
Or was that
yesterday?
I thought it might have been Sunday. I don't even know. 20th, 21st, 22nd. Well, I remember being a kid, when you focused on dates like that, when the calendar and you're in elementary school, I always thought it was the 21st.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but who knows? They probably move it.
Well, it's officially definitely spring right now.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm ready for spring and just kind of to chill a little bit, but still a little meat on the hockey bone for me. I want to get to this video from Tim Legler on ESPN. This is about the Sixers. I want to get your thoughts on this because Legs came on real heavy, and we know Legs is a bit of an old school dude.
Yeah.
But here's Tim Legler talking about both Harden and Embiid sitting.
Not to play last night.
I hate it. I mean, I really do, because again, it's disrespectful to the league, to the fans, and it renders the regular season meaningless with as many games as guys miss. And I understand, what they're trying to do, but this is the second time James Harden has sat against the Heat since he got to Philly. I don't really get quite what that's about. Look, you go out and you win the game, and that's great. Tyrese Maxey was incredible. But are you supposed to really take a lot out of that? No, because the guys that played great last night and had opportunities are not going to have the same opportunities when Harden and Embiid come back and play. So I don't take a lot out of it. I think the Heat were caught a little bit flat-footed by that decision. They weren't really completely ready to play to defend those guys the way that they played last night. So I don't take a lot out of them winning that game without their two stars. They've got to figure out how to close games with these two guys against a marquee defense, and that's why I wanted to see them on the court last night against Miami. They need to beat a team like that, and they need to figure out how to play together in the tight moments, because that has been an issue for them so far, and you're running out of time in the regular season. But I guess rest is the almighty in this league, and that's all that really matters. So I'm disgusted by it, because I think fans that wanted to go down and see that game last night, anticipated it for a long time, didn't get to see their two stars play.
All right, so he's disgusted by it. It's a lack of respect for the league and the fans. Harry, is Legs right here?
Well, they had just come off a really awful performance the night before against the Raptors at home, where those two guys did play, and nobody could shoot the basketball, and they lost, and Embiid did look tired. The big guy needs his rest every now and then. He mentions Harden now that this is the second time he's sat versus the Heat. I don't know if there's anything to that or not, but at the end there, I do agree with him that they need to figure out a way, and to figure out this chemistry between the starters on the court, including those two, they're superstars, before the end of the season. And the playoffs are, 11 games away. So he makes a very good point there. I do feel bad for the fans that went down there to a game, hoping to see, Jimmy Butler and, the Heat going up against Embiid and Harden and everything, and then they don't get to see it. That stinks.
Yeah.
The Sixers did find a way to win that game, which is miraculous. I can't figure out the NBA regular season to save my life. But I'm just tired of I sound like an old man punching at the clouds when I start bitching about, who plays and who doesn't play on a night in, night out basis in the NBA, because this is never going to change anymore. It is what it is. And I'm getting tired of being annoyed by it. I agree with him about, they need more chemistry, more time together, you would think, is what they need. And they missed an opportunity last night to maybe get some of that and beat a really good team together. Is it going to cost them in the playoffs? I don't know. They're now tied. There's three teams now tied at 2, 3, and 4, including the Sixers, who apparently are in the 2 slot right now. But this, are they trying to avoid Brooklyn? Do people want to see them play Brooklyn? They could play them in the first round, because Brooklyn's in that 7-8 situation, where with this play-in, 7 plays 8 and 9 plays 10. The loser of the 7-8 game, which the Nets, I believe, are 7th right now, or 8th. They might be 8th. Toronto may be 7th. But the winner of that game is in. The loser of that game gets to play the winner of the 9-10 game, which is Charlotte-Atlanta right now, to see who gets the 8th seed. So right now, if whoever gets the 7th would play the Sixers as it stands right now, and that could end up being Brooklyn. That would be kind of interesting because Ben Simmons still has yet to play one game for the Brooklyn Nets in their uniform. Now he's got some back issue that they're saying is, a herniated disc or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe. But
how do you herniate the disc? He hasn't done anything
from sitting down. Sitting
Jesus.
is very strenuous. Trust me, I do a lot of it.
Yes. The thing is, those guys got to figure out what role each is going to play in a tight game at the end.
Yeah.
Because in the playoffs, you're going to need to win those tight games, and you're going to have somebody step up and situationally. But the NBA guys have been doing this forever, sitting out in this load management thing, and I totally agree with you. Like if I'm in Miami and I see on the schedule, Sixers are coming in, I'm going to get chance to watch Harden in person and Embiid in person. I buy the ticket because of that, and then they sit out healthy. That would piss me off.
Yeah, it does. It must be very disappointing. I told you a couple of weeks ago when I got back from Florida, we went down to see the Bulls game, and I was just like, till that afternoon at 3:00, I was just like hoping beyond hope that everybody played, and thank goodness, basically everybody did, and I got to see these guys. But you never know on a nightly basis, man, until the playoffs come.
Especially in a back-to-back because they were on the back-to-back.
Yep.
And, if the NBA wants to fix it, then they can't have any back-to-backs.
Right. And I don't know if that's, logistically possible, given, trying to squeeze 82 games into, to these windows, playing in the same building as hockey teams and so forth. But they got 11 games to go, and they could be anywhere from the 2 seed down to the 4 seed. So it's, I can't wait for the playoffs. The NBA playoffs are tremendous, just as the NHL playoffs are. Even though the Flyers will not be there.
The thing about it too is this playoff is going to be so intriguing because you have that guy in Harden now that's not afraid to shoot it.
Right.
And can they finally, after all these years, get past the second round?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you won't have to run everything, through the big guy, late in games in the half court. And one of the bright spots that has been all season long, and you saw it last night, is Tyrese Maxey is tremendous. And he was tremendous again last night, and he is a true third option for this team. So it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, at least you have that, and Tobias can step up on occasion and hit some big shots for you as well. But can they get past the second round? I mean, if they don't get past the second round again, I mean, Jesus, it'll be such a disappointment.
Yeah,
then after people freaking out when they got Harden.
Yeah, exactly. Then everything turns on Doc Rivers. I know a lot of people are turning on him already.
Big time.
It hasn't been an easy season for Doc.
No, it hasn't been an easy tenure at this point as well. So we keep an eye on the Sixers, those final 11 games, and then heading into the playoffs, it's going to be exciting. The Eagles were rumored to be in the mix for both Russell Wilson, who ends up in Denver, and Deshaun Watson, who does not end up here as well.
Right.
And some people, there's selective morality in sports, right? And after the grand jury comes back for Deshaun Watson and the 22 accusers, and he decides not to come here, this Eagles don't get him. It's good. We didn't want him anyway, but had they gotten him,
they did want him.
They did.
Yeah, they did want him. And, they tried. They couldn't get a meeting with him, apparently. And, I was told that, the weather, he didn't like the weather in the Northeast, but then he ends up going to Cleveland, which has worse weather. So that doesn't make much sense. But then when you start looking at it with the amount of money, and it's all guaranteed that Cleveland gave him, I can put up with some cold, frosty days, playing in, off of Lake Erie for that kind of money. So it was never, I don't think, ever really much of a possibility for the Eagles. But that doesn't mean they didn't kick the tires and they didn't, they didn't desire it. They would have loved to have him.
Oh, absolutely. They would have. He's a dynamic player. What becomes of Baker Mayfield, Har?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he goes to Canada.
Yeah.
Maybe he can go play in Calgary.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders?
Roughriders, exactly. Or the Ottawa Red Blacks, I think.
Yep. And of course, you got the Toronto Argonauts.
The Argonauts and
the Argos.
The Montreal Alouettes still in the league.
I believe so, Hack.
Yeah, and the British Columbia Lions,
The BC
and the
Lions,
Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Look
And
at
then
you, good
I think
CFL
there's
knowledge.
another Red Blacks. Aren't there 2 Red Black teams in the Canadian Football League?
Leave it to a Canadian league to have 2 teams with the same name.
Right.
It'd be like the Eagles going to San Diego to play the Eagles.
Right.
And both have the same chant, the EAGLES.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Fletcher
Baker
Cox is
Mayfield.
coming back, though.
Oh, yeah, on a 1-year deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind
They're
of
becoming the
underwhelmed.
team that can't let go, aren't they?
I know. I was kind of underwhelmed by thus far in free agency when it comes to the Eagles. But the rest of the league has been so entertaining with all these trades and, free agent movement among big time players. I mean, all these quarterbacks that have changed addresses. It's just, it's mind blowing. Like, you really need to write it down to figure it out. I mean, it all started with Brady unretiring. You get Russell Wilson going to Denver. Like you said, Watson to Cleveland. Rodgers stays. And then Devontae Adams leaves.
Yeah.
And he goes to the Las Vegas Raiders to be reunited with his college quarterback, Carr, from Fresno State. The trickle-down effects now. You get Matt Ryan to Indianapolis for a 3rd-round pick. The Colts essentially offloaded Carson Wentz to Washington and end up moving up in both the 2nd and 3rd rounds of the draft, and then get an extra 3rd-round pick, and are paying Matt Ryan, I believe, slightly less than what they would have paid Carson Wentz had he stayed there. So what a boondoggle for the Indianapolis Colts, because I think Matt Ryan could be really successful there with that running game and that defense, and he gets out of the, now the AFC is just mega loaded with quarterbacks. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And the NFC, now that Brady came back, it's a little bit better, but it's, Rodgers and Brady might as well just pencil those guys in for the NFC Championship game, right?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to see that. Yeah.
At this point.
At Lambeau.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is, the league and all this movement, I think, is good for it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a variable of unpredictability now. I think that's great.
I do too. I do too. And, the trickle-down effect then too. Trubisky goes from Buffalo to Pittsburgh, and for a nominal contract, they'll probably end up drafting somebody because I don't think Trubisky's the answer, nor do I think they do. But he's like a stopgap, I guess, for Pittsburgh. Mariota goes to Atlanta to be reunited with his head coach, who was at Tennessee, as the offensive coordinator. And that's sort of a stopgap. They may end up drafting somebody in this draft. They got some big pro days. It's pro day week.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's was yesterday, and much was made about his hand size. His hand actually grew, Jason, 1/8 of an inch in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Some guys would like to have that happen somewhere else. And if we can figure out that pill that he's taking, maybe we should all get on it. It's unbelievable. But Malik Willis is tomorrow. Yeah, his hands. He's got less than 9 inches. Now that's
quite a lot. That's a big paw.
But there hasn't been apparently a quarterback with hand size of less than 9 inches drafted in the 1st round. That's why it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
because he's probably going to go in the 1st round. I think he's going to go in the top 20.
Who was the quarterback that kind of had the label of his hands were too small? I can't remember. There was somebody recently that they said he would fumble all the time because his hands were too small. I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember either.
It was Daniel Jones or something like that.
Man, might have been.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's definitely not 8 5/8 inches hands like Pickett's apparently are. His were at least 9 because he was taken in the 1st round.
Jeez.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, Joe on formerly Ruined Tomorrow. Oh, Joe Burrow's got small hands, Ash said.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he wouldn't know. Yeah, well, you see, it doesn't really affect him, does it? Guys,
it certainly didn't look like it to me.
No.
And Joe says that Dante Culpepper had small mitts. I don't remember that.
Really? At a UCF way back in the day.
Because he could chuck it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he was great for a few years. And we had those, with Chris Carter and Randy Moss and chucking it around, Robert Smith in the backfield. That was a great team. The signings, the Eagles or the Phillies make you excited at all for baseball? Or are you still kind of like, yeah, whatever?
Well, I mean, they're going to hit the ball. I mean, the guys they brought in, this is the unbelievable thing is they have no farm system, so they have to keep spending all this money. And finally, the owners finally opened up the pocketbooks and said, forget about luxury tax. We're going over it. And, kudos to him because, I mean, this is what they have to do to get people excited. I mean, Schwarber, $79 million for 4 years. Castellanos, $100 million. They wanted Castellanos. There was rumors about him being traded to the Phillies years ago when he was with Detroit, when he still played third base. But a couple of corner outfielders, you got the DH. These guys can DH on days when they don't want to field. Herrera's back for hardly any money. They're going to score runs. They're going to hit the baseball, which gets everybody excited. Question is, will they have a bullpen that can stand up to it? We know Wheeler's a stud. You hope, you hope they have enough pitching, because the NL East is pretty doggone good. The Braves, the Nationals, the Mets, of course, and the Marlins always give the Phillies a lot of problems.
Yeah, and the other thing with them is, what is Nola going to be?
Right. Well, that's the guy that needs to get back to being the Nola that we know and loved when he became the first couple of years with the Phillies. He's kind of slid off here in these last year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I think he's a huge element of it too.
He is.
All right, we've certainly done enough sports, Harry. Did you see did you see the two pigs that deterred a black bear or a brown bear? I don't know what color bear it was.
Well, now do we have to delineate? It was a bear.
It was a bear. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a big ass bear.
Okay. I did see that. I saw it on Twitter where the bear jumped into this pen, and it's in the woods or something, and there was a pig in there, and then a second pig came out, and the pig scared the bear right back up onto top of the fence, and he got the hell out of there. Now, I was always trying to avoid pigs, at certain times of the night. Yeah, pegs. Yeah, they scared the hell out of me too.
Yeah, you went running out of a few pens there.
Tried not to get
two in there.
I tried not to go in the pen at all. I didn't try to avoid the pen altogether.
See, that bear's thinking, bacon.
Yeah, right.
I smell bacon. And then he gets in there and goes, a little bit off a little more than I could chew.
Exactly.
Pigs are nasty, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
You
don't want to piss off a pig.
Yeah, those things.
Especially in their own pen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing if the pig comes into your pen.
Yeah. Then you got them on your turf.
Right.
You don't want to go in the pig's pen.
No.
Before we get to this top 10 list that I saw from Eric Alper and Rolling Stone put out of lead singers, I got to ask you about, I think there's some really dumb things in the world, and people do some really bizarre things and they think it matters. There's this guy, he's a serial Guinness Book of World Record holder, and his name is David Rush, and he's trying to claim yet another world record. Okay. Tell me what you think of this one.
I've never heard of him, by the way, for him clamoring to get all these records. This is the first I know of him.
I guess he thinks this is going to guarantee him a trip through the pearly gates.
Or maybe he gets a star on the Walk of Shame in Las Vegas or something.
Yeah,
who knows?
The Walk of Waste My Time.
Mm-hmm.
He is trying to set the record for the most times fist bumping people in 1 minute. The most people.
Really?
Fist bumping 152 people in 1 minute. A feat he described as more of a logistical challenge than a physical one. Your thoughts?
Well, so what do they do? Line up people like on a sidewalk, and they just walk past them, and he's doing the fist bump? I mean, first of all, how does this become a thing? Like where fist bumps in a minute is a thing. Like I wouldn't even. I don't know where people come up with the categories or like the feats to begin with.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He has 250 records. One of them is a record that he has. He's the fastest 100-meter dash runner while juggling blindfolded.
Oh God!
How
fast? How fast did he run that in? Just for curiosity's sake.
Of course, it does not have that. 16.33 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I know some people that can't get near 16 seconds without juggling and with full vision.
He also caught the most ping pong balls caught in shaving foam on his head in 30 seconds as a record.
See, how does that become a thing?
Yeah.
Like where we need to see this.
It's just
so
useless.
Dumb. It's stupid.
Can you?
But you're talking about it though. You found this.
I know, but I'm just fascinated by people's level of boredom, I guess.
Mm.
I don't know.
Well,
anything
is there
you
a
could get in
record?
the record books for?
That's what I'm saying. Is there something that we could do as a show and maybe get a little publicity out of some stupid feat?
I can tell you what we won't do as a show, the longest ever live stream.
Well, that's true. Yes.
I'm out on that.
That is true.
That sounds like work, Harry.
It does.
Could we do the shortest ever podcast episode?
I could. I know I could.
One shift and end it.
Exactly. Just
Thanks
give
for
them
coming.
the best 3.5 minutes of your life.
Yeah. Hello, goodbye. It's
Right.
over. All right, let's get to this top 10 list, because Rolling Stone put out a top 10 list of the greatest rock singers of all time. And I want to get your thoughts on it. It's Rolling Stone readers that pick the best lead singers of all time.
Yeah.
So the list goes Robert Plant, Freddie Mercury.
This is in order now from 1 to 10. Yeah.
Bono, Mick Jagger, Jim Morrison, Roger Daltrey, Eddie Vedder, John Lennon, Chris Cornell, and Kurt Cobain. Where's your issues on the list?
I could throw 3 out here right now.
All right.
Cobain's
going.
Cobain's out. As much as Nirvana, provided for rock history, and they deserve their place in it, but he's not in the top 10.
Yep.
John Lennon is out to me.
Yeah, because Paul McCartney was
Paul
better.
McCartney's better in my view. In my opinion,
agree.
I've always sided with McCartney when it came to Lennon and McCartney. So I would pop Paul McCartney in this top 10 list and boot Lennon out. I would probably throw in maybe a David Bowie for a Kurt Cobain. What do you think about that?
That's good. Yeah.
And then I would pop Eddie Vedder out of there. I know, there's a lot of Pearl Jam fans that would, torch my house, but he's out. And how about I put in Paul Rogers?
Ooh, from Bad
Company,
I
think is a magnificent vocalist for rock and roll.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, Paul Rogers is great. That's a good one. I could buy that going into the top 10. There's no females in there. What about like an Ann Wilson hair from Heart?
Yeah, I love Ann Wilson. Great range. That's interesting. That's a good one. I would probably, she's a better singer than Stevie Nicks, who is tremendous, is tremendous in her own right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe Ann Wilson, maybe she deserves to be in there. Nancy is a hell of a guitar player, by the way.
Oh yeah,
the sister.
Yeah, she still looks great too, by the way.
She does. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you go back to like that early Heart and the way that Ann Wilson sang.
Oh yeah,
I mean, come on. I mean,
Magic Man.
Oh
yeah,
she was so powerful.
Barracuda.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then you got kind of their cheesy era in the 80s.
Yeah.
With some of that, but kind of pop rock thing that they were doing.
Yeah, that wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
You're good with Morrison being in there?
Yeah, man.
I am too.
I am. Absolutely.
I love him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are going out on tour. And Ronnie Wood, I think, too.
They're in Europe. Calling it the Stones, or are they
it's the Stones, but it's the the 3 of them. Keith Richards is 78 years old, I believe, and Mick Jagger's right up there too. It is unfreaking believable. You talk about what something should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. These guys should be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I mean, that's unbelievable to be almost 80 and touring.
Right.
That is nuts. I mean, just the fact that Keith Richards is alive.
I know.
is one of the great,
he's a walking miracle.
Life. Yeah. Would you have Plant number 1 over Freddie Mercury or any of those other guys? Or are you putting Jagger 1?
Plant's pretty goddamn good, man.
I know.
I mean, Freddie Mercury's tremendous. I kind of like it the way it is. I might put Jagger and Daltrey above Bono.
Yeah.
In there. I love Daltrey. Daltrey to me is like, he's kind of like Plant. There's a lot of similarities with the way they went about it.
A lot of different forms the way he sings too, like Plant did too.
Right.
Cornell's
amazing.
Yeah, he is.
He was amazing.
The funny thing about that, I saw a guy that I used to work with at YSP, Gil Edwards, put out a post, and Soundgarden is going to get together and tour, but obviously without Cornell, they're going to get somebody in his stead.
Who?
And it was, I'm not sure who it was. I don't even know if they knew yet, but the debate was some bands that when a lead singer dies should never move forward.
Right.
And Soundgarden is one of them.
I tend to agree with you.
wrote all the music,
I agree.
and nobody can sing like he can.
No, I agree. And it's the same way if Robert Plant passed, let's say when John Bonham died, instead it was Robert Plant. Led Zeppelin should have just, Plant and or Page and all those guys, forget it. Don't even reconvene with a different
If it's
vocalist.
really early in a band's existence, then maybe. Like it was for AC/DC when Bon Scott died and Brian Johnson came in.
And I'm a Bon Scott devotee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, as opposed to Williams.
Yeah.
Or Brian Johnson.
Soundgarden should not move on. I
agree.
I don't think Alice in Chains should have moved on without Lane Staley. They got William Duvall, who sounds a lot like him. But to me, that becomes a tribute band. It doesn't become the band.
Right. Well, Cantrell did a lot of singing, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's
way
he's
more than
capable.
You can even imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Now, who's the greatest heavy metal singer to you? Is it Rob Halford?
I mean, he's got the most range, and he's great. And speaking of a band that replaced its lead singer, even though Halford didn't die, they brought in Ripper Owens, who was a tribute band singer from British Steel, the tribute band, to be the singer for a while.
Great album, British Steel.
Yeah, but now Halford's back with Priest. But to me, the greatest heavy metal vocalist of all time.
You're going to say Ozzy.
Probably, yeah. It's Ozzy. Just the recording voice is so great.
Yeah.
And just he's just such a good singer and performer. But I mean, my favorite is got to be Hetfield from Metallica. Okay. I mean, he just the whole way that he's intonates his lyrics and everything, and then obviously guys like Phil Anselmo from Pantera is the greatest growl of all time. Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden is phenomenal.
Yep.
Talk about, I mean, just a great singer. So there's a lot of great ones, the heavy metal ones too. But
I mean, Vince Neil didn't make your list?
No, he was all processed.
I know.
We did a thing with him when we were at YSB, and he needed all this stuff put on his voice, and I think there was a lot of voice tracking going on live over the years with him. So, I mean, even Ozzy, in the later years. And,
of course, yeah.
I mean, they were playing so many steps down because he couldn't get there anymore. So, songs that he was playing in E are now in C sharp,
right?
Because he couldn't get there. So, but there's some great ones on that list. I mean, I love Morrison.
Oh yeah,
I think he was brilliant.
Now
and
we
Freddie
got
Mercury's great.
A streamer here, Renee Cruz, is just rattling off names here on the stream. Dio.
Yeah, Ronnie James Dio was a great singer.
Gary Moore.
Yeah, all right.
Klaus Meine.
Klaus Meine, of course, is from the Scorpions.
Yeah, Scorpions, yeah.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw them once.
Did you?
Yeah. City Island in Harrisburg.
A little Big City Nights, Har?
They were pretty good.
Yeah, they were.
They were pretty good.
The Winds of Change. I saw them on the Monsters of Rock tour at JFK Stadium.
Oh, wow.
Van Halen as the headliner. The first band was a band called Kingdom Come, which sounded like a Led Zeppelin tribute band.
Okay.
And the second band on that tour was Metallica.
Wow.
And this is after Cliff Burton died, the original bass player. And they just released that mini album called The 598 Garage Days Revisited, which had 5 cover songs on it. And it was the first tour of Jason Newsted with the band. And on that tour was Dokken, the Scorpions, and Van Halen.
Dokken.
With Van
Halen?
Oh, Van Halen was the headliner. Okay. Yeah,
so it's Van Hagar. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. And I saw that at JFK. It was an all-day, this is before the rock festival came back.
Right.
At JFK. It was a great show, though.
Now, he's got a name up there. Is it Phil Lynott or Lynott? I never figured out which way it was, but of course, of Thin Lizzy.
Yes. That's a good one.
They had some great tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got Rainbow up there, too. Of course, Dio singing with Rainbow. Man on the Silver Mountain. Because I'm the man on the Silver Mountain. He's great. That dude was 5'1".
Yeah.
Right? And couldn't have weighed more than 97 pounds.
Right. But had a powerful voice.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Who was it? Richie Blackmore was the guitar player for Rainbow, right?
Yeah. Blackmore's Night and Deep Purple, of course, and some great ones there. Yeah. Well, we'll have to do the guitar list at some point, too, because that'll be a good one. Let's put a bow on it, Harry. Let's tell people about betParx one more time, because that's the new app. And you had a play that you had at the beginning of the program here?
Yeah, I took the University of Houston, the Cougars, over the Arizona Wildcats. Cougars getting 1.5, going up against the 1 seed. These top seeds very vulnerable in this tournament, as we've seen 1 seed already go down in Baylor and a bunch of 2 seeds. So I will take the Cougs plus 1.5.
All right. You'll take a Cougar on any day of the week.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact. It is the all-new betParx Casino and Sportsbook app. It is now live, so you can download it, get it on your phone. Check it out. It's everything you wanted in a mobile casino and sports betting app. So check it out, and it's right in the palm of your hand. You don't need to go anywhere. You can do it right from your phone. Very easy to use, fun to use, and faster to win than ever before. And right now, all betParx users have the choice of either a $20 casino bonus or a $20 free sports bet. So make sure you download the app, the new app, and check it out. And you can get the player performances, the props, the parlays, same game parlays, live in-game betting, futures. It's all there for you. And maybe you want to get on some of the baseball futures. It'd probably get pretty good odds on the Fightins.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
let me see what the Sixers. There's some futures here for the Sixers.
While you're doing that, I'll tell people to download the betParx app today. Do you need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey? Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Plus 350 to be the winner of the Eastern Conference.
Oh, just the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, they're the third favorite behind Brooklyn, plus 275, and then the Bucks at plus 300. So
that might be some nice value there for you, Aaron.
Could be.
All right. Well, everybody get the betParx app and check it out, and you'll have a great experience with it. The old app was good. This one's even better. So make sure you download the betParx app, open up an account, and enjoy the great benefits of that as well. We'll be back next week, Howard, with another edition, episode 17. But let's wrap this one up. We'll talk to everybody next week here on Odd G's with Harry Mayes, Jason Myrtetus. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.